Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the New York City Council hearing on the Committee on Environmental Protection and Waterfronts. At this time, please silence all electronics and do not approach the dais. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair, you may begin.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Councilmember Jim Gennaro, Chair of the Committee on Environmental Protection. Environmental Protection, Resiliency, and Waterfronts. That's not our name, is it? Not anymore. Let me say that again. I'm Councilmember Jim Gennaro, Chair of the Committee on Environmental Protection and Waterfronts. Today we'll be hearing Intro 730A, sponsored by myself, in relation to water quality testing at city waterfronts and the posting of results online. Also, Intro 795, sponsored by Councilmember Sandy Nurse, in relation to the installation of outdoor drinking fountains in parks and other public places. Also, Intro number 804, sponsored by my colleague, Councilmember Phil Wong, to my left, in relation to light pollution, but I'll let him talk about his own bill. He'll be more eloquent than I will be on his own work. And Reso, also hearing Reso 351, sponsored by Councilmember Harvey Epstein, who is a member of this committee, recognizing the contributions of the federal Endangered Species Act to the natural environment of New York City. While New York Harbor is cleaner than it has been in 100 years, I heard on the radio that you can take striped bass out of the lower Hudson now. Okay. While New York Harbor is cleaner than it has been in 100 years, as flooding increases in frequency and severity, so does exposure from contaminants from combined sewer overflows, or CSOs, in New York City harbor waters. Also, rising temperatures accelerate the growth and spread of bacterial pathogens and harmful algal blooms that can cause a range of illnesses and disrupt ecosystems. Currently, the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene engages, and we're thankful for this, regular water testing for bacteria that are associated with the presence of fecal matter, floatable debris, toxic contaminants, petroleum products, and sewage and wastewater discharge following heavy rainfall. While DEP tests 84 sites within the New York City harbor for dissolved oxygen and nitrogen, monitoring long-term trends in aquatic ecosystem health. Finally, Parks works with the state to monitor water bodies for harmful algal blooms. While these programs, meaning the testing programs, ensure robust water quality testing, some reports in recent years have raised questions about the efficacy of the city's testing program. My bill would require DEP, in consultation with Parks and the Health Department, to conduct additional testing of water bodies abutting New York City recreational waterfronts at least once a week in July and August of each year, and monthly during the rest of the year, concerning levels of harmful substances like harmful algal blooms and petroleum. It would also require DEP to post test results on its website within 3 days of each testing. Now, so there's a lot of testing going on, but we think, the council thinks that there are some gaps that we can fill in a reasonable way to provide more testing coverage and more information for people who swim in the swimmable parts of New York City recreational areas, and for secondary areas like boating, secondary uses like boating and that kind of thing. We're just looking for more full coverage, like when it comes to testing. And we're going to have some, debate about that. I don't think DEP is going to be crazy about it. I think some of the advocates are. And so we're going to have some fun today. Next Intro 795 would require parks to install, replace, or upgrade 500 outdoor drinking fountains by 2035. This is Sandy Nurse's bill. Such fountains would be required to have bottle filling stations and be accessible to people with disabilities. Additionally, parks would be required to report the locations of the 500 fountains and assess the feasibility of year-round outdoor drinking fountains. That's going to be tricky given the temperature, but let's take a look. DEP, in consultation with the Department of Transportation, would be required to install 10 new outdoor drinking fountains in public places other than parks within communities that are underserved by publicly accessible drinking fountains. That's that intro. Intro 804, that's the Phil Wong bill. He's going to talk about that, so I don't have to do that. Finally, Reso 351 would recognize the contributions of, what is that? Oh, all right, of the Endangered Species Act. They just had ESA in here, like as if I'm, Mr. Quick when it comes to the acronyms. So that's our hearing. I don't think anybody would be disappointed. So I'd like to thank the committee staff, legislative councils, Natasha Bynum, way to my right, Sierra Townsend to my immediate right, policy analyst Ricky Chawla, great guy, financial analyst Tanvir Singh, great as well as my legislative director Josh Gachette, super great. I'm throwing out the accolades today. It's Easter, it's Passover. We're going to accolade ourselves into spiritual harmony here. Also going to recognize a former staff member of mine, Shams Tarek, who is upgraded in the world, who runs Albany for DEP, runs the place, which is great. And we're joined by Councilmember Wong, Councilmember Hanks, I'm going to, now to tell us about his bill, I'm going to recognize Councilmember Phil Wong, who represents a district right next to me. So we're neighbors, partners, friends, and we sit next to each other. Figure that out. Our districts are next to each other, and we sit next to each other. So there you go. So that's a connection. And so, Phil, you're on. It's my pleasure to recognize you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are considering one of my bills, which will, through a simple legal change, drastically improve the quality of life of millions of New Yorkers. This bill, Intro 804, will make it illegal to have outdoor illumination greater than 3,000 lumens in a residential district, unless the lighting is fully shielded. Many of us know what is it like to have a neighbor who recklessly attach a garage or building spot or floodlight that, when on, keeps us or our children awake and reduces our quality of life. This bill is not intended to remove people's right to keep their property lit to ensure safety or security, nor to place an undue enforcement burden on the city. We want to give our residents the opportunity to get something done when light harms their quality of life. I know the administration has concerns, especially around the units, lux versus lumens, or the time need to roll out the bill, or and exactly who to enforce, do the enforcements. I am amenable to these changes and know we can produce a bill that makes it possible for this city to continue consistent enforcement across the city and for residents to get relief. Thank you, Chair Gennaro, for hearing this bill, the council staff for working hard on this bill, and to the administration for coming out today with an open mind, ready to improve the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wong. Appreciate you putting your bill forward, and we're happy to hear it. And Oh, and we have Councilman Wrestler, who's here as well. Always good to have Lincoln. Ready to mix it up, Lincoln is. Oh, yeah. And so, and I don't need my opening statement anymore. And what do I have? I got my questions, but we got testimony here, right? This is DEP, it's testimony with the big font. Thank you. And we have Parks. Oh, this is the regular font for DEP. And we have Parks here too, yeah. Okay. What are we doing now? You're doing your thing, right? Okay. Yep.
All right, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you, and if you could just say your name and your title before you begin. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here, and in whichever order you wish, proceed with your good testimony.
Good afternoon, Chair Gennaro and members of the committee. I'm Beth DeFalco, Deputy Commissioner for Public Affairs at DEP. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss intros 730A, 804, and 795. I'll take them in turn.
You got this.
Intro 730A is rooted in the shared priority, making sure New Yorkers have clear, timely information about water quality. There are a lot of reasons and ways to monitor and to receive timely information about what exactly is in our local waters. First and foremost is human health, the presence of bacteria from fecal matter, whether from storm runoff or untreated sewage, and certain kinds of algae are potentially harmful to human health when people come into direct contact with water. Ecological health is another reason for robust water quality programs. The presence of excessive nitrogen or low oxygen levels or excessive amounts of certain algae can be harmful to plants and creatures that live in our water bodies and that are essential for a balanced ecosystem. Finally, not only are clean, beautiful water bodies a sign of a healthy environment, but we also recognize that there are important quality of life reasons to work toward that goal. Good water clarity is key to attracting people to our waterfronts and for the promotion of recreational activity, where appropriate, such as boating and sightseeing. Recreation, as we know, is vitally important for maintaining vibrant, desirable communities where people want to visit, live, and work. We look forward to arriving at legislation that accomplishes our shared goals of not just keeping the public informed, but making sure that our local waters are as healthy, clean, and as beautiful as possible. Regarding Intro 808 about light pollution. Intro 804, pardon me,
right,
804.
yeah.
Intro 804 takes on an important issue, light pollution, and we support the goal of reducing unnecessary light in residential areas, particularly given the impacts of quality of life and public health. That said, we believe the bill needs more clarity to be implementable. Right now, there are key terms that aren't defined, such as other lighting. It's also unclear whether the bill applies strictly to residential zones or extends into mixed-use areas, which is a big distinction in New York City. There are also practical questions. The bill sets a 3,000 lumid limit, but doesn't specify how that's measured, whether it's by fixture or by bulb, from what distance, from what direction, and it doesn't address ambient light in a city in New York that can be very significant. Just as importantly, the bill doesn't identify which agency would enforce this policy or how it would be paid for. This is not work that any city agency currently does. While we don't believe that the bill is enforceable as it stands now, as always, we're happy to work with the council to help tighten the bill so it can achieve the goals in a clear and enforceable way. Regarding Intro 795, this speaks to something that we strongly agree with, making sure that New Yorkers have access to clean, free drinking water. However, DEP does have some concerns regarding the responsibilities and scope of this bill as it's assigned to this agency regarding the 10 drinking fountains. DEP doesn't install or maintain any drinking fountains. It's simply not part of our operational scope, and it's not something that we're well suited to take on. In a non-park public place, fountains are typically installed and maintained by other entities, often private partners, and DEP does not have a role in those arrangements. The bill also doesn't address ongoing maintenance, which is critical. Installing a fountain is one thing, keeping it clean, functional, and safe over time, such that it would actually be used and served its intended purpose, is where the real enduring work is. So from our perspective, the bill needs clear assignment between its goals and the entities best positioned to deliver on it, along with clarity on long-term responsibility. We're committed to supporting the council's goals here, and we're ready to help shape a path that works. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify and for your continued partnership. We look forward to working on these.
Thank you.
Good.
Sure, I just wanted to thank Beth, and please proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Guarino, members of the Environment and Planning and Environmental Protection and Waterfront Committee, and members of City Council. I'm Mark Folk. I'm Acting First Deputy Commissioner of New York City Parks. Thank you for having us here today alongside our partners at DEP to discuss Intro 975, which would require New York City Parks to install, replace, or upgrade 500 outdoor drinking fountains in various parks over the next 9 years, with 300 required to take place in the next 5 years. NYC Parks maintains over 3,400 exterior drinking fountains throughout our parks and playgrounds, making us far and away the largest provider of clean drinking water for New Yorkers, and our dedicated staff works extremely hard to keep them in good working order. As a general practice, we incorporate new and replacement water fountains into the design of nearly all of our parks renovation capital projects, making sure they are thoughtfully located to best serve park visitors, whether it's used by kids at playgrounds or a jogger taking a break. In advance of every winter, the majority of those outdoor drinking fountains need to be winterized, meaning manually drained and deactivated by our dedicated trade staff to avoid damage to the subsurface infrastructure from freezing pipes. As we speak, those same trades are in the process of reactivating our thousands of water features throughout the park system, including our drinking fountains, to make sure that New Yorkers can enjoy them as the temperatures rise. Whenever new or upgraded drinking fountains are installed as part of larger parks capital projects, depending on the individual site needs and project budget, we install both ADA compliant drinking fountains and bottle fillers to sites when feasible. As a general practice, our parks' water fountains are located near well-used features and amenities within parks, such as children's play areas, seating areas, or athletic fields and courts, to make sure the fountains are available where park users need them most. There are several different standard models we utilize for drinking fountains in our parks, ranging from high-low drinking fountains, which offer access at 2 different heights, to standalone down-flowing bottle fillers, some of which include an additional spigot and bowl at the base for dog owners to utilize. We are very committed to increasing the amount of water fountains accessible in our parks and are proud to share that in the 5-year period from fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 25, we installed a total of 527 drinking fountains and bottle fillers, including freestanding units, as well as those installed on the sides of our public restrooms. Turning to the legislation today, as you may be aware, NYC Parks is already working to comply with Local Law 93, passed by Council last year, which mandated the installation of drinking fountains within parks over the next 10 years. Through this effort, we are seeking to identify every opportunity to add or improve drinking fountains throughout our portfolio. As such, while we share Council's support for expanding access to drinking water, we believe that Introduction 795 is largely duplicative of the recently enacted law, the language of which was negotiated jointly between Council and the administration to ensure an appropriate and reasonable approach to improving public access to water fountains, a goal we all share. Thank you for allowing us to testify before you today and for your continued advocacy and support for parks. Certainly pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Commissioner. I appreciate you being here and for your good testimony. Yes, I want to recognize we're joined by Councilmember Sanchez, a valued member of this committee. Okay, we've got everybody now. And I have some prepared questions, but I'm just going to go through the DEP testimony first. Deputy Commissioner DeFalco, you appreciate the testimony, and you make regarding the water quality testing, I thought there would be more content here, or more specifics, regarding some of the elements of the bill. It broadly touches some areas, but then it just states that we look forward to arriving at legislation that accomplishes our shared goals. Is there anything that, and of course, like the public hearing setting is where we like to air out some of the, some of the issues that the agency has like a problem with or whatever, and then the advocates in public and sort of make reference to your testimony, and then we get a good mix of what's going on here. And so is there anything further you'd like to put on the record regarding anything about Intro 730A on water quality testing that gives you that gives DEP pause, or you would like us to have a better sense of as we try to get to a bill that balances DEP's ability to perform what we want it to do, and that which the council and advocates may, we're going to end up someplace in the middle. And so anything further that you'd like to put on the record before I get to my prepared questions? Just giving you that opportunity.
Thank you, Chair. I think one of the things that we've been thinking about, DEP currently monitors about 158 locations in our waterways, and so we were trying to look at what this bill tries to accomplish.
Yeah.
Arguably would ask us to up the program that we have, our harbor quality water program, by about 35%, 36%. So some of it certainly is a resource issue. Some of it is what part of water bodies DOH is monitoring, whether that's beaches versus what DEP is monitoring. What you're looking to add to our testing. One of the larger concerns, I think, is a 3-day turnaround for some of the tests, like the nitrogen testing, which it's just not possible to turn that around in 3 days. Where that information is located and how it's accessed by the public. I think that those are some of the larger concerns that we look forward to working with you on to better clarify.
Right. Speaking of, nitrogen control, that was all the rage, years back when, DEP was, I'm giving myself a little latitude here to kind of go off script a little bit. That doesn't mean anyone else gets latitude. I'm just giving it to myself here. There was a whole big push for all the plants that feed into, the East River and ultimately the Sound. Like the city, DEP had to do massive investment in, nitrogen control technology. I guess that was pursuant to the feds or somebody, as I recall. It was a long time ago. And so how are we doing there, just generally? As DEP, is it under a consent order now regarding nitrogen control or whatever? I'm going a little far afield, but I know you have a very high-level bench here that I know knows everything. And so
we do, and if there are any questions that I can't specifically answer, I'm happy to defer to my colleagues.
It was all the rage. It was tons of investment and different technologies that were employed. John May Harvey Epstein, the author of the resolution on the, I'm going to hit him with the acronym, on the ESA. That was in the thing. You missed the whole ESA episode. But Yeah, I'm just curious about how we're doing there because that's, that was a big thing not only with the city, but with the state of Connecticut and Long Island. We had to lower the nitrogen output by 58.5% over X number of years or whatever it is. I know there's an ongoing push to try to improve the health of the Long Island Sound overall, and New York City is the greatest contributor to Long Island Sound nitrogen. No surprise there. We have more people. And so I'm just wondering how that, I'm not trying to turn this into an oversight hearing on nitrogen, just one little question I'm going to sneak in there. So how's that going, and is that pursuant to a federal mandate or a consent order, or what's that looking like these days?
I think that you're talking about the Harbor Survey Program specifically.
I'm talking about the mandate that was put on DEP to decrease the amount of nitrogen that is coming out of its plants that feed into the East River,
Through CSO,
and hence the Long Island Sound, and that was a lot of money in order to do that. And I'm just wondering, take this opportunity, being that we're all here, and you brought you brought all the whole think tank here about how that's going. Monitoring is one thing, but the mandate that DEP install all this very expensive nitrogen control technology. How's that going? It must be somebody who has the answer to that.
There is. Our nitrogen projects are complete, but for a little more information, I think I would probably ask Jonathan Hoffman, our Assistant Commissioner for Planning and Compliance, to come up and
Thank you,
give a larger
John.
overview.
Yeah, again, I just got the inspiration to ask about the nitrogen removal. That was, again, 20 years ago was all the rage, and so now we're 20 years down the road, and how's that going? Who governs it? Any more push to install more, nitrogen control technology? We presumably have greater influx of in-house waste disposers, which once upon a time were not even legal in parts of New York City by virtue of the nitrogen that they, inherently create. You got undigested food going into the, wastewater system. I was against putting them in. That was a Rudy Giuliani. That was a Rudy Giuliani, era decision to allow those, which I thought was, was spending untold millions of dollars to increase dissolved oxygen in our coastal waters. Incremental increases in our coastal waters by removing nitrogen. And the argument back then was, okay, if we do the waste disposers, it's only going to decrease. It's going to decrease dissolved oxygen by only a little bit. But that little bit of a decrease, we paid untold scores of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars to make it go up a little bit. So wasn't on the council then. I just worked here, so I couldn't go up to the mayor and tell him I thought it was a bad idea. But how's that all going?
Sorry, if I could just swear you in first.
Yep.
Please raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions?
Yes.
And if you could just state your name and title for the record, please.
Okay. My name's Jonathan Hoffman. I'm Assistant Commissioner of Planning and Compliance for Bureau of Wastewater Treatment at DEP. In terms of the nitrogen projects, we actually had two series of nitrogen projects. One is the Upper East River or the East River, and that consisted of 4 treatment plants. They've all been in operation for a number of years.
Oh, and then you also had Jamaica Bay,
And we've
right?
also had
Right.
Jamaica Bay, and that's another 4 plants. The last one, Coney Island, had their upgrade complete, I think it was in 2022. So all of the plants currently are operating with their BNR, biological nutrient removal process in place.
Now, are you using the same technology in all the plants? Because remember, there was an experiment, there was another technology that was used in Jamaica Bay. I think it was ARC or something like that. I remember some sort of acronym or whatever. It was a long time ago. That was like a low cap way of getting the stuff out, and it seemed to be successful. But that was, I had a full head of black hair back then, so I don't know where it's at now.
Yeah, the base treatment is the same for all the plants, but some of the locations we have a higher treatment need,
Right.
and so we actually add chemicals to the water to be able to actually reduce that nitrogen further.
Oh, what do you add?
But glycerol, it's basically a carbon source, so it helps the bugs break down the nitrogen.
Oh, okay. Good idea. So, and the nitrogen removal program is governed by the state or the feds or a consent order or what? How does
Yep.
that?
It was originally consent order, 2 related consent orders. The East River is more or less the federal government,
Right.
administered by DEC, so New York State DEC.
Right. And how about
And same with Jamaica Bay.
okay, so the feds are not in this business anymore so much. Breathing down
It's not as it's not as simple. The East River also has the Long Island Sound Partnership.
Oh, right, right.
Which
Which
is
was
born out of the EPA and run by the EPA.
which was the 58.5.
Right,
Right.
they're the
okay.
ones. Right, so that's.
Did
still
we ever get there?
exists.
Did we ever get to 58.5? Did that ever
That's what
happen?
our permit's based on. So we have the East River has a total nitrogen limit, a load limit, how much we can add to the water.
Right.
And so that's what our permit is actually based on, is the 58.5.
Right,
reduction.
and we're meeting that, we're meeting that standard, right? No one's suing us, yelling at us.
We're trying to meet that standard.
Pardon?
Yes, today we're exceeding the limit, but for the most part over the period of years since we've started with the lowest limit that we are at today, we've met the standard, yes.
Okay, all right. Sometimes it's good to check in on issues every 20 years to see if, how that's going. And thank you for that. I'm sure that the Long Island Sound and both the Sound and Jamaica Bay will, benefit from that. And great, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me get to some of my prepared. So that was 730A. Yeah, the light pollution, not gonna do that now. And the drinking fountains, we had very comprehensive testimony on that. Let me go to the, just gonna pause for 1 second here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to be conservative with my time. I'm having council go through the question set to make sure we hit the ones that we really need to get the administration on the record for. In the meantime, being the nice guy that I am, I'm going to open up the questioning to my colleagues on the committee who have important concerns, other places to be and to go. And we have 2 council members who are signed up to ask questions. I'm going to Recognize Councilmember Wong for questions. So, Councilmember Wong, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Chair. My question pertains to the edits and issues the administration has for the light bill. That's intro 804. I think one of the crucial things that is lost in the discussions my office has been having with the administration is just how simple this bill is. We are tackling a simple problem: offensively bright outdoor lights in residential neighborhoods. The solution is simple: make them illegal without a proper covering. That's all. I appreciate the technical concerns that have been very helpful in getting the best version of this bill, but I worry the administration is overcomplicating this scenario. Oh, before I get to my questions, there are Department of Building inspectors that go around my district and write tickets. If you forget to turn on the light outside your house, you get a big ticket, right? And then the fines get higher. So there are agencies out there enforcing the law that if you don't turn on your lights at night, you will get fined, right? So I can tell you that because I have received these tickets before, right? So I want to address a few of the concerns. There was an issue about lux versus lumens. And I want to defer to the experts on this. If you think lux is a better unit of measurement, then I'm open to change it to lux. Or perhaps your light meters detects lux and not lumens. You know, I'm open to change that. And there was an issue about more time to prepare for enforcement. And if the administration thinks it needs more time for the enforcement, I'm ready to give you more time. And regarding the penalty, if the proposed $50 is not steep enough to reduce offenders, I'm ready to increase the fine. And finally, how is this enforcement done? Now, I do not want members of any department driving around the city looking for offenders. If a neighbor has an issue, just like with any other non-emergency problem in the city, and they will call 311, and that will start the process of getting solutions. So I hope to continue to have conversations with the administration so we can clear up any confusion of this bill and introduce a simple solution to a simple problem. Thank you.
And also before the witness begins to speak to the councilman's question, just in case the time elapses, please continue with your answer.
Was there a specific question about?
Oh, yeah, that's my feedback after looking at the edits that was made by the administration, but I'm gonna go ahead. Well, currently, I know the Department of Buildings, but I don't know of DEP or any other agency. Are there any other agencies accept complaints about excessively bright residential lights?
My understanding is that they do not. I think if there are more specific questions about what DOB enforces, that we might be able to answer those. Yeah. We can have DOB come up and answer those
sure,
specifically.
sure, please.
DEP doesn't do any light
Okay.
enforcement at all.
So these, got it, and then this one, got it. You want to swear this guy?
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you. If you could just state your name and title for the record.
And also feel free to give your full answer, notwithstanding the buzzer going off in a minute.
Thank you.
My name is Ronaldo Hilton. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Enforcement Inspections at the Department of Buildings.
Okay. So my question is DOB or any of your divisions currently accept complaints about excessively bright residential lights?
No, sir.
So
Not that I'm aware.
So as you're aware of, no city agencies are taking these complaints.
I'm not aware of DOBs accepting any complaints.
Okay, so I want to ask the panel, which agency is best suited to enforce this bill?
I think that those are, some of the things that we are talking about with council, I don't think that we want to debate which agency is responsible or would be most likely to be responsible. I think it might depend on some of the specifics that are agreed upon in the redlining process.
I see. Okay. A question about cost. To detect excessive lighting, you need like light meters. How much do you estimate it will cost?
We're beyond the limit, but I'll give you a little.
last question.
I'll give you the latitude to ask
Thank
this
you,
question.
thank you,
Sure.
thank you. Yeah. How much do you estimate it will cost to purchase and maintain equipment needed to enforce this bill, like such as light meters?
So Councilmember, we are not equipped right now to give an estimate because we don't really have, since this is kind of new to us, you know, to do that, we would have to, there would be some kind of agreement on what type of meters would be appropriate and all that, and then some research on those costs. We're not able to right now give an estimate on costs.
Okay, so as a follow-up, how much time would you need to purchase the appropriate equipment and begin enforcing the bill?
I'm not prepared to give an answer for that right now.
All right, so hopefully you can give me an estimate.
Sure, we could get back to you.
All right, I'll save my other questions for round two. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. I'll say that in my neighborhood of Jamaica Estates, there's a lot of people that have like obnoxious lights that are, you know, shining into other people's homes. I know that, you know, we get complaints about it. I mean, you know, and the Civic that I used to be chair of, president of, whatever, and we get some. I should ask my caseworkers what they do when they get these complaints, because we get complaints about it. I mean, in my community, it's almost like a competition as to who can have like the more obnoxious lighting. You know, it's like, sorry, you know, but it just sometimes it just gets a little much. You know, it's just. I shouldn't indulge people to speak from the audience, but I'm just saying that I recognize your problem and you know look forward to working with that.
Thank you, Chair.
On you. Okay. Yes. I'm happy to recognize Councilmember Epstein for questions.
Yeah, can I, just on the water quality testing, 730A, I appreciate that it's a shared priority, so I'm wondering, what do you think the issues are in trying to ensure we have higher quality water and kind of the issues you think are flagged right now? Because we hear a lot of concerns around quality of water, quality of waterways. You know, what is the best approach to ensuring that the public feels like we have that high quality water?
The harbor's got some of the cleanest water we've ever seen it have. Not even recent years and decades and decades. We've got two main monitoring programs that hit about 158 sites all around 48 different waterways. I guess some of the questions that we'd like to work out with council is what the primary objective is. Is this a health objective? In which case it might help us tailor the types of tests that are most relevant. Probably more toward fecal and bacteria versus algae.
Right.
And then...
Or heavy metals too, or concerns around heavy metals.
Yeah, and then the turnaround on the tests, you know, can vary. So how quickly you want to get the information versus the type of test you have.
Right.
How the information's made available. What's going to be the most useful way. Putting, you know, data into the universe where no one can access it isn't probably what you have in mind.
Right.
So I think that those are some of the issues that we'd like to work through. We'd like to work through how long it takes us to get and to increase a program like this. Resources, certainly. The way that we do testing right now, we're the same people that drive the boats that do testing for us are also driving boats to move our sludge and wastewater treatment around. This bill doesn't offer, as written right now, any flexibility for emergencies. To core operations for this agency. So I think those are some of the challenges that we want to work through. I think there are definitely ways to do that and to work through this so that we can have more instantaneous information about the testing. And some of it's just even having more information about the testing that we already do in a way that the public can understand and access it.
Thank you. Can I turn our attention to the water drinking fountains? I mean, so there are drinking fountains in my district that have never been operational. The infrastructure's there. They're just never open. You go to Astor Place, there's a water fountain right by the subway station. It's just not operational. So, but it's there. DOT's like, we don't know, and DEP's like, we don't know, and like it's parks like we want to create amenities. We all agree on that goal. So how do we ensure that something like that's in Tompkins Square Park or at Astor Place becomes a functional water fountain for New Yorkers to have access to?
Thank you, Council Member. The water fountains that are in parks are our responsibility. I'm not familiar with the one you mentioned at Astor Place. You mentioned it's by a subway station. That's probably not parkland, so that would not be ours. But
It's funny because the bid says it's not ours. DOT says it's not theirs.
well, it may have been built years ago by somebody, but it's not. If it's not on parkland, it's not our jurisdiction. We don't have the authority. It's simply, I don't know how, any other way to say it, but if it's not on parkland, it's not the responsibility of parks. And again, we have over 3,400 drinking fountains. We are by far the largest provider. We have the majority of the burden and the honor of
Right.
delivering clean drinking water to citizens and visitors in New York. We take that very seriously. So we expend our resources on maintaining what is ours.
So, okay, the one in Tompkins Square Park hasn't been maintained in 30 years. I've lived by Tompkins Square Park for over 30 years. That water fountain that leaks today has leaked for over 30 years. We talked to Parks Department about it. How do we get how do we get prioritized that water fountain in Tompkins Square Park to be upgraded so it's usable?
Well, I believe I'm familiar with the one you're mentioning, and you mentioned it leaks. It does. You and I both looked at it together.
Yes.
It works. It leaks.
I
but
mean, it works like it spurts right into the
But
air.
folks can get drinking water out of it. It's also leaking out of the bottom. We will look at it again. We do not replace individual drinking fountains as per an operational. All of the replacement of drinking fountains is done through a capital process. So the capital reconstruction.
So if I
of the
give you
site,
capital money, you'll replace it?
we would love to talk to you about
Okay.
that.
So I go to DOT and they're saying it's not us. That's not our water fountain. We don't know. We know it's there. And we go to the bid and they're like, we didn't put it in. We don't know where it goes. And we go to you and you say, it's not us. So, but we're all the city, right? Like, can't someone tell us why there's a water fountain in place and why it doesn't work?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Like, someone's got to have the answer, right? Who is it?
I got an answer, I think. It might have been put in the pre-DEP days of the old City Department of Public Works. And in that case, in my book, I think it should fall to DEP because they're the successor agency to the old New York City Department of Public Works.
So can DEP look at this?
We're happy to go out and see if we can answer this riddle for who might have ownership of this one particular fountain. Would like to stress that DEP doesn't operate any fountains at all, that we don't have any program to maintain them. So a working water fountain's great. Nobody wants to drink from a dirty, non-maintained water fountain.
So then we get the bid to maintain it. We have a bid there. They can maintain it.
Yeah, but you got to fix it.
Yeah, we got to fix it.
The installation of 10 water fountains, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we would get from where and what part of DEP would you like us to not replace the water main on your block? That's where, like, those are some of the things that we're trying to do.
Let's just do this. Can you find out who's in charge?
Yeah.
We'll find out who owns it and then whether or not it's even operational, and we can make it operational.
Thank you.
I just think, not that my opinion means anything, but barring any other agency stepping forward, I think DEP is like the default agency for the conveyance of water infrastructure. I think, when everyone else sits down and like the music stops, I think DEP is the agency that's still standing up, yeah, to put it that way. Yeah. That's what I think. You're the councilman. You tell them whatever you want, They should be afraid of you, If you give them money, they'll do it, Okay. Beth, we talked, and you've mentioned a little bit about about the testing that both, DEP does, and that the Department of Health does. Can you speak with a little more specificity in describing the testing that you do, DEP does in the harbor survey? Just a little more specificity as to what happens in that.
Thank you, Councilman. The Harbor Survey Program, we test weekly from May to October, and then monthly from November to April, which largely monitors what DOH does at beaches when people are most likely to use it. The program tests primarily 5 different parameters related to water quality. Dissolved oxygen, bacteria, so fecal coliform, chlorophyll A, water clarity, and nitrogen.
Okay, now,
Those are 84 sites that program targets specifically.
now, do they tend to be like near shore sites, like the Department of Health probably does? Or are they kind of like in the middle of the water body, like, out a ways or whatever? Depending upon like the watercraft that you use to go out and do that, is it near shore, or do you get a better read, or is the reads that you're asked to get, do you take those out a ways, and get those readings in like the middle of the water body as opposed to in sort of the near shore environment?
It's both. No, it makes sense. I was actually looking for and asking about a map so that I could answer that same question myself earlier this morning. Yeah, it's both. So we do take from the middle of some water bodies, but primarily overall, it's right near your shorelines,
Okay.
near outfalls especially.
Right, great. Thank you. Going down a little question set here. That one's already been answered. Oh, okay. That's the next one? Okay, this is a question directly from council to the committee, so this come from the top here. For DEP, it's about $795, the water fountain bill. Regarding intro 795, is DEP, this is like, okay. If DEP is not the appropriate agency to install water fountains in non-parks public spaces, then which agency would be appropriate? We just kind of had this, we talked about this a little bit, but, so I guess I'm asking it again. And so, because, the people watching online or whatever, and we're talking to the agencies that are most involved in this kind of infrastructure, and the, and the answer of, I don't know is, I'm not sure that's giving a lot of confidence to people who may be watching this hearing, like somebody knows,
Thank you, Chairman. That's a fair point. I don't.
This is an
I don't think it's
opportunity for you
about-
to claim it. Just claim it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Plant the flag.
However,
do it.
The thing that we have to think about when making these decisions, listen, it's whatever agency, the administration or council decides that it should be. I think some of our hesitation on this is that we don't have this infrastructure in place now. The way that we pay for upgrades to the system, fixing your sewer, your water mains, is your water bill. So as we think about doing these things, one thing we're also trying to do is keep your water bill low, so that,
Mayor's
especially
not concerned
in
about
times
that
like these.
with the rental payment. He could care less about how far rates go up. He's going to take $300-something million out of like water and sewer money and give it to, who knows, just general, city operations. Great agencies, fire department, police department, parks department, the Department of Records and Information Services, like who knows? He's gonna put this wherever it is. He's gonna, he's taking water and sewer money and just gonna spread it a lot, just put it anywhere. I'm just like, I couldn't resist the temptation that, while DEP is very concerned about water rates, we have a mayor that is not concerned about water rates. We'll have to see this year if, when he does the rental payment, if he charges water and, water and sewer customers in real time for the rental payment, or whether he takes it out of reserves, which is, he hasn't done anything yet. But that's what Adams did. He took it largely out of Water Finance Authority reserves. I don't think the people who rate the bonds, really appreciate hundreds of millions of dollars leaving the system and not being paid for, but being taken out of reserves. People, the people that, like the bondholders, Wall Street types don't like to see reserves, depleted. If you're going to charge a rental payment, then stand up and charge it. So you're going to charge $300-something million in water and sewer, $40 million a rate point, divide that into the 300 million, just raise points, you just raise the water rates 8 or 9 points just to cover the rental payment, and explain that to the people, that we raise your water rates 9%, just to cover the rental payment. That doesn't go to water and sewer at all. And then we're going to raise it on top of that, to keep up with the growing demands of the system, like going from 1.75 inches, storm sewer capacity to 2.1, to all the other things that the agency does. So, the mayor's picking your pocket, but you're not going to say that. And so I digress. But you were in the midst of giving me a wonderful answer.
One of the things that we are thinking about and would like to, work with council on, and maybe do a pilot on, is a public-private partnership. How do we put water fountains in places that are very accessible to people? Listen, we're very proud of our water. It didn't get its nickname of champagne of water for no reason.
Right.
So we want to make that as accessible as possible. There might be some more creative ways to do that.
This
and I
is
think
going to
that's
be
a
the
thing
test case right here. This is going to be the test case.
So that's one of the things that we're looking at specifically. But we don't have the infrastructure in place right now. And so if you're asking what some of the challenges are, I think that we would put that at the top.
Okay. Well, Harvey, this should be a thing, because we've got these orphan, we have these orphan water fountains like all over the place, and like, what is it? But yours is going to be the poster fountain for all this. And so I want to get invited to the ribbon cutting once we find out.
Assuming we can do it in the next 4 years, otherwise, I don't know.
Hey, next I'm going to be 69 years old in a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? So
You got plenty of time.
yeah, these like 4-year time horizons are starting to scare me a little bit. So no, I'm serving out my term. This is I'm serving out my term. That's a lock. Plus my wife would be mad. And so, okay, we did that. Oh, let me do that. Well, he wants to go around on the second round, I think. So, you're going to come for the second round? Okay, so I had a thing about the lights, but, we don't want to, I don't want to light up the hearing with too many light questions. You could have giggled at that. I got nothing. I'm trying to work with a tough crowd here, whatever. Now, my comments may not be funny, but Sham Tarek's socks are funny, and so I appreciate like the socks. And so I wear funny socks too. I recognize Councilmember Wong.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I just want to point out that in my district, whenever we have a sidewalk that's cracking or facade that's any kind of violations, the Department of Buildings will be there like within a couple of days and issue citations or summonses. We have residents that regularly get trees that with roots that uplifted the concrete, and they get hefty summonses that they have to replace the sidewalk, or else they'll be even subject to even heftier fines. So I know the enforcement's out there. The inspectors are out there at night looking at sidewalks, looking at trees, and I'm sure that they could also look at the lights, and if it's too bright or if it's not in compliance, they can issue a warning before they issue summonses. Or I know the enforcement teams are out there, and it's a matter of one extra item, they're going to look into it. And because light pollution is a serious issue in my district for residences, and I'm going to ask the administrations look into the matter, whether it's Department of Buildings to add an extra item to your enforcement, or even DEP when you look at the water, when you look at when you look at the other issues in the street. So that is my suggestions to you.
I'll certainly let some of the other agencies speak about that. I think that we would have concerns about taking away from what our crews are doing at night to make sure, to cover the entire city and make sure our water infrastructure is working. I think that it sounds like a very easy answer that's very complex. That would the people that we have working overnight to detect leaks and fix water mains and sewers are not trained in light detection. They've got, usually they're emergency, like they're working on emergencies overnight. So I think that we would have concerns about distracting them with that, an additional responsibility. I'm sure there might be another creative way to come up with doing this besides using engineers and emergency contractors, some of the people that we have on overnight to help us detect leaks. From a DEP's perspective, certainly parks, DOB, I'll let them speak to that, but I think that would be our perspective.
Does DEP have inspectors? Do you inspect private residential properties?
No, we don't inspect private, no. No private, we don't touch residential properties, only the water mains and sewers in the middle of the street.
Okay, so that's perhaps something that the Department of Buildings will look into? Can you answer that? Yeah.
So, Councilmember, Department of Buildings do have inspectors operating at night. However, those inspectors are responding to emergencies. This is a night crew, usually to fires, to different things that happen after hours. And we certainly do not, as I said before, have the capability of, of measuring light. We don't have, even the inspectors are not trained on those things. So there would be some challenges into getting up to speed to be able to do that. Could we do that? Of course, but it would be intensive resources that would be needed to implement something like that, and we'd have to see how this bill works out. In the long
We're going to talk about funding. If this bill needs to be back with certain amount of funding, we're glad to talk about that. Okay. Question. Is lumens or lux, which one is a more appropriate measure of light? Since this was heavily edited. So I want to hear from you. Can anybody answer that?
I could not personally, but I believe they settled on lumens. Is it?
Lumens?
Yeah. Is it lux? Lux. I'm sorry.
Lux.
I don't know the difference myself.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. My final question. How bright do outdoor residential lights needs to be for safety reasons? How bright?
So that would have to be settled, settled into the legislation, right? We'd have to. Again, this is not something that Department of Buildings does right now on a regular basis. So
that's why we have a problem with these bright lights. People, due to various reasons, buy the biggest, brightest lamp fixture, put them in the backyards, front yards, and then we have this problem today. Yes.
I understand.
And the chair agrees. Thank you.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And I want to find my final question. Color temperatures. Are there any color temperatures that are known to be more or less associated with the negative impacts of light pollution?
Right. So I just, from my experts, I don't think we have that expertise right now in our department to actually come up with an answer to
Okay.
that.
So I think, Chair, we can conclude that this is an issue that there's no agency is responsible for enforcing or
Yeah,
for
we got a lot
addressing,
of
and
like
we need.
orphan topics. We got orphan drinking wells. We got like orphan issues and stuff. Like who's got the ball on this? And so I think
I did not hear anyone stepping forward.
yeah, it is what it is. These are all well-intentioned people trying
Okay.
their best to, give us the answers that we seek. But you've uncovered an area that heretofore has, hasn't really required a lot of oversight or whatever. And people put lights on their porch, and DOT makes decisions about how bright the street lights are. Recently, they went from like moderately bright to very bright. Okay, and so somebody put some brain power into that. So, but we've uncovered an area where there is, not a lot being done on it now, other than what DOT does to regulate the street lights. So this is a whole area that the city needs to take a look at, and you're the pioneer. So,
Well,
and Harvey's with these other fixtures, these drinking water fixtures that are, there and sort of unclaimed by any city agency. So this is why we're here, Phil.
right.
Try
Well,
to
I
try
hope
to-
we can work with the administration to come up with the best solution to this with the appropriate funding, because there is clearly a problem in residential homes, and it's definitely distracting. Is a distraction to the neighbors and the residents living near these homes with bright outdoor lights.
I would agree. I would
Thank you,
agree,
Chair.
and I thank the panel for doing their best. I think what we've seen is that, this issue needs a home, and so we would have to find a home for it. These are, everyone's, like I said, everyone's doing their best to try to solve this Rubik's Cube, but right now it's like unsolved. So we will solve it, and I look forward to that day, because this is a pain in the neck in my neighborhood.
I see.
I
Thank you, Chair.
got
Thank you.
lights. I mean, I don't have it, but as I, go around my neighborhood at night, there's really some obnoxious lighting, and just like, are they kidding me? So, yeah, we don't want to. We should endeavor to figure out how light pollution, like any other pollution, needs to be regulated. And so, with that said, I don't have any. We're good. I don't have any further questions, and so I think we had some big fun today. I think it was good. It was worth it. Easter Monday. Is celebratory. Always great to have some of the best talent in city government come before this committee, and to give the benefit of their earnest and knowledgeable views on the questions that we pose. We love working with you all, and that's what makes this job fun. Going back to our districts, that's not fun, because they're all over me. Is that on TV now? I guess that's on TV now. I love my constituents. Nothing. When they call me at 2 in the morning, I'm just thinking, I couldn't sleep anyway. So now I get to do something. And so, yeah. No, they have, they're very clingy, and it's nice to be needed, But when we come here, we do the cerebral stuff and plan for the future, and that's what we like doing. So thanks so much for being here, and for your good testimony. And Shams, I know him like forget about it, forget about it. And so, yeah. So thanks very much. I got to set up the online. No, the in person. In person. So I'm going to call the. Oh, it's a script. Okay. Okay. I now open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant at Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on the legislation being heard today. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council, C-O-U-N-C-I-L, testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. Only the transcripts of such recordings will be accepted. And it says right here, call the first panel. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, let's do 2 minutes. Okay. All right. Hold on. How many Okay, I'm going to call the first panel. Now, most committee hearings that you go to, you only get 2 minutes. We're going to give you 3. Count them, 3. And so there you go. The first witness to be representing Riverkeeper looks like M. Ruby, like EM. Is that right? Or pardon? Yes, that's correct. Okay. So we'll hear from M. Ruby from Riverkeeper and Dawn Eng representing myself. And so we got 2 more? Yeah, why don't we just, okay. And, yeah, because we can do 4, right? We can do 4 at the table, yeah. And we have Kathy Nazari of the Lights Out Coalition and Margaret Lee, it looks like, of the Lights Out Coalition. Oh, I know what the Lights Out Coalition is going to talk about, which is not our bill, but I know what it's going to be. Can we do,
Yeah, because one person's not here, so it's still just.
what's that? Am I reading this? Yep. Okay. Tina, P-I-N, oh, and in parentheses it has Mother Pigeon. Okay. Representing myself. Is that you? Okay. Sure. We'll make arrangements to seat you. The council, oh, do you have to? Okay, yeah. Let me just deploy an eye drop first. Yeah, I was like taking care of my medical needs on television. What am I doing next? I gotta do this one. I take eye drops all day long. It's like a thing. Okay, I'm supposed to keep my eyes closed for a minute once I put the drops in, so I'm going to keep my eyes closed for a couple more seconds. But we're going to be hearing this panel from my right to my left, so it would be starting way on the left. Whoever that witness is, can just identify themselves for the record and proceed with their good testimony.
Thank you, Councilmember Gennaro. My name is M. Ruby, and I'm the New York City Advocacy and Policy Coordinator at Riverkeeper. Thank you, Chairperson Gennaro and members of the New York City Council Committee on Environmental Protection and Waterfronts for your leadership in improving water quality and for the opportunity to testify today. Riverkeeper is a member-supported watchdog organization dedicated to protecting and restoring the Hudson River and its tributaries in the waters throughout New York City. While Riverkeeper strongly supports efforts by the Council to improve water quality and increase testing for pollutants in New York City waters, we believe there's room to better target Intro 730A on pollution that is a greater threat to New Yorkers, rather than the bill's current focus on harmful algal blooms and petroleum. We also believe that testing locations should be identified through a user study of New York City waters instead of the broadly interpretable waterfront areas used for recreation. This bill would require DEP to test for harmful substances in New York City waters with a particular focus on harmful algal blooms and petroleum. Riverkeeper, alongside the Swim Coalition, encourages the committee to focus on combined sewage overflows and their impact on water quality rather than on HABs and petroleum, which are important but not the highest priority for recreational water users. In terms of detection and measurements, HABs and petroleum are difficult to systematically detect through water quality testing. HABs occur mostly in stagnant areas that can vary from year to year. Petroleum emanates from various sources intermittently and unoften. That said, both of these pollutants are typically visible to the naked eye when present in waters. In contrast, CSOs are point sources and thus have discrete locations that are easy to routinely monitor to protect human and ecosystem health. Further, CSOs represent the biggest threat to water quality for New York City waters, and the city discharges more than 21 billion gallons of CSOs yearly. This represents a significant threat to human and ecological health and greatly restricts New Yorkers' access to swimmable and fishable waters. To ensure the intent of this bill is met, we recommend amending this legislation to focus on CSOs as the primary harmful substance measured by the presence of sewage indicator bacteria, and to establish testing protocols for DEP to monitor CSO's impact on water quality at recreational access points. We have a couple of recommendations to do so.
Please.
Number one, to identify priority testing locations based on the results of a user study of New York City waters to determine where New Yorkers are currently using the water, including but not limited to commercial and industrial usage, boating, kayaking, jet skiing, fishing, swimming, wading, and other nearshore and on-water activities. We recommend using the user study that was conducted in 2022 by Riverkeeper and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation as part of the advanced notice of proposed rulemaking to update water quality standards for New York saline waters. I, in my testimony, have provided you with one page of that user study, and I will attach the rest to my online testimony. And the second recommendation is to conduct near-shore testing that is less than 15 feet from the water's edge so as to ensure that results are useful for recreational purposes. I dispute DEP's claim that they conduct near-shore testing. I would also like to highlight that real-time notification when CSO outfalls are discharging is absolutely essential to protect public health, and DEP is notifying users only when the discharges so thoroughly pollute a water body that it violates water quality standards. Some open waters like the East River rarely see such notices, despite dozens of discharges each year. The city's current warning system fails to protect kayakers, fishers, and others who may unknowingly recreate at a flowing outfall.
And why don't we do this? Because I'm going to come back to you with questions.
Great.
Because then we can get that substance on the record when I come back in questions.
Thank you so much,
I don't want to
Councilman.
go too much past the 3 minutes. Next witness, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for your patience and look forward to your testimony.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Gennaro and Councilmember Wong. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of Intro 804. I'm Kathy Nazari, founder and chair of Lights Out Coalition. Our mission is to protect urban wildlife and birds. That's 400 native species, including 4 million pigeons alone, and roughly 15 million migratory birds, with spring migration currently in full swing. Sadly, our built environment is a death trap. Light pollution disrupts avian navigation, and reflective glass is imperceptible to them. With 1 billion birds dying annually in North America from building collisions, and 30% of the migratory bird population permanently lost in the last 50 years, we must take every possible step to reduce these numbers. This weekend's dancing woodcock, I don't know if any of you saw him, may never happen again if we don't pass protective legislation. Intro 804 is a vital step in this effort. By limiting brightness and requiring shielded lighting, we can help birds avoid these fatal collisions. Beyond the impact on wildlife, light pollution is detrimental to human health. Medical evidence links it to major diseases, including cancer, diabetes, and stroke. And it exacerbates mental illness, particularly within homeless populations and environmental justice communities. Furthermore, light pollution contributes to climate change. And as demonstrated by Professor Paul Bogart, unshielded bright lights can actually impede personal safety. Slides included in my submitted testimony, illustrate how shielded light can reveal intruders who go undetected under brighter lights. Passing Intro 804 will make the city safer for birds. And as we say at Lights Out, if it's good for animals, it's good for people and the planet. We urge you to please pass it without delay. Thank you for your time. And since I do have a few seconds left, I just wanted to address a couple of questions that Councilmember Wong had. Blue light is worse than other lights on the spectrum. It disrupts our internal systems. Red is used therapeutically, and lumens are the appropriate measure. One of our coalition members is International Dark Sky Association, and I'm happy to connect you with them. They could answer all of those questions for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm sure that the councilman will be following up with questions for you. Thank you and the Lights Out Coalition. Next witness, please.
Margaret Lee,
Yeah,
a
pleasure
member
to,
of Lights Out Coalition, supporting 804.
pleasure to have you.
One of the saddest sights in our city, of many sad sights, are bodies of birds who crash into windows. It's truly and tragically heartbreaking, especially when we consider how very preventable these deaths are. The easiest thing everyone can do is simply turn off unnecessary lights at night. There are other remedies as well, which Intro 804 seeks to address. I'm here as a member of Lights Out Coalition to support this important bill and to thank Council members Phil Wong, Farrar Lewis, and Harvey Epstein for their leadership in this, and the City Council for holding this hearing. Passage of this bill has the potential to make New York City a kinder place and to set an example of compassion elsewhere in America and worldwide. In addition to preventing these needless deaths, I'd like to see New York City become a true oasis for birds and other wildlife, a place where they can find actual sustenance and welcoming hospitality in gardens with clean water and abundant food. I don't feel it's a whole lot to ask. This healing transformation, possible through Intro 804 combined with Intro 806, will benefit not only the creatures here, but humans as well, who are too often cut off from the natural world and who are also adversely affected by offensive bright lights. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. What was that? Tina. We look forward to your testimony. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you. My name is Tina Pina, also known as Mother Pigeon. I'm an artist and social media influencer that elevates New York City's wildlife through my work. I'm here to support Intro 804 and any legislation that can kind of help animals. We can't change the fact that there are tall buildings where there used to be beautiful trees, meadows, and streams. I know that most people do care about nature. At the moment, migrating birds are all the talk of the town. They stop here for a little rest. Unfortunately, our city doesn't care for its own birds, wildlife, much less the migrating birds. Our wildlife has to wait for heavy rain to form dirty, chemical-filled puddles to drink from and bathe in. These birds won't even find any food from these designer trees and bushes. As it stands now, our city has allowed pigeon poachers to come capture, torture, traffic, and sell them to live pigeon shoots by the thousands for decades. This city is still poisoning the rats, which is horribly cruel and in turn poisons the animals in our parks and sometimes even hurts children. I ask to please take the Intro 804 seriously. Animals will soon have a rich, peaceful home that they deserve. The least we can do is turn off a light. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I thank this panel. Just a note to you, Phil. So, you know, your bill is 80 what? What is it?
804.
804. And 806, which the witnesses made mention to, that's the, yeah. Oh, that's your bill too?
Yes, that's right.
That's for like the tall buildings and all
Amend
that, right?
to the creation, no, actually, 806 is to
806.
amend the administrative code of the City
Right.
of New York in relation to the creation of a citywide wildlife management team.
Which includes light management on big buildings,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it says the creating a citywide wildlife management plan. It doesn't mention any
okay,
specifics.
because there was another bill floating around that, and some of the advocates may know this, about restricting light from
that
big
is
building.
not
That's not yours.
not being discussed. I think
Okay.
that's being fine tuned.
But I'm saying, but whoever's doing that, whoever's, I
Well,
mean, that
because
was,
I believe the office buildings openly believe that New York City is a 24/7 city, and there are
I'm-
reasons for the lights to
yeah,
stay
I
on.
just wanted to, you know, make you aware that there's another bill in the council from last session, whether it's been picked up by anybody or not, but it deals with light pollution, not the same kind that you're addressing in the bill that's being heard today. But if it hasn't been scooped up by anybody, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I introduced 4 bills, and that was one of them, picked up from the last session.
The one on the tall
On
building?
the tall buildings, yes.
No. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Intro 896, I think, is the one that you're referring to. Addresses light pollution in commercial buildings and retail stores over 4,000 square feet. It was prime sponsored by Francisco Moya, who was term limited, and
Right.
we do have somebody who's requested it from the speaker.
Oh, okay. So anyway, that bill's out there. We have information that another member has come forward to ask to sponsor that, but I'm just saying that, you know, they're similar bills. Different part of the city would be impacted by one versus the other. I just wanted to make you aware of it.
Thank you, Chair.
If you want to work with that member or whatever.
absolutely.
And
I will do
so,
that.
with that said, you may have questions for this panel. I'm happy to recognize
Actually,
you for
I have
question.
questions on Riverkeeper. Now, due to climate changes, we have algae that grow at a different rate now. We have fungi that's growing at a different rate. I noticed that because I have some old books. When I start flipping them, I noticed that the mold there is growing a lot faster in recent years. You know, I don't know enough to say, oh, it's got to be the climate change, but I just see it happening. So is there any recommendations you would make? Like, should New York City be testing the water on other things, like algae growth, fungus growth, or is something else they should be testing? Because I noticed that that's happening as we speak.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember. I appreciate that. I also have a lot of moldy old books in my house. So, yes, I just want to emphasize that Riverkeeper has been monitoring a harmful algal bloom that was present last fall in the Hudson River that was farther upriver. I would say was centered around Kingston, New York, and the roundout there. We have not seen the same kind of harmful algal blooms in the waters of New York City. And my understanding for why that is that there's a larger flow volume, right? And there's water coming in and out of the harbor that creates a certain water temperature that harmful algal blooms don't thrive in. That doesn't mean that we don't see them in the city. We certainly do. I believe that we've witnessed, we've registered them in sort of tributaries of Newtown Creek, for example, where there is water that is very stagnant and gets to be very warm. And certainly you're correct that climate change is making harmful algal blooms much more frequent and also much larger in a lot of different waterways. And I'd also say this doesn't take into account freshwater areas of the city, like ponds and certain parks could certainly experience a harmful algal bloom due to temperatures, etc. I'm just talking about like our harbor waterways. With that being the case, Riverkeeper does not see harmful algal blooms as being right now a primary issue for human and ecosystem health in the waters of New York City. We do see it as being a threat further upriver, and we're doing a lot of water quality and testing upriver on HABs to identify patterns and tracks and different strains, for instance. So I'd be happy to talk with you more about that. For our testimony today in terms of testing, CSOs are the main pollutant for New York City waters and provide the main threat for both ecosystem health and public health. And so that's why our recommendation is around controlling for CSOs. They also, it's not just, bacteria indicators that go into the waterways. It's also combined sewer overflows bring petroleum and, trash off the street and other pollutants off the street. But would certainly be happy to talk more about a full spectrum of water quality testing. We could talk about swimming in waterways and kind of certain heavy metals to test for, et cetera. At this moment, there's just this very large gap in testing for bacterial indicators, and that's why that's our recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Regarding the other members of the panel, so we do have a bill that we have not had hearings on that, but it's regarding office lights, that they should be turned off. So I would invite you to come back once those bills are being discussed. So I'm not going to get into too much on that. Quick story, my office have birds crashing into the windows, so we put in decals on the window. Well, I call them back then I call them stickers, but at least that save a lot of birds. So that's something we might want to consider once the
Sure.
the commercial building bill is being discussed. But thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wong. And Em, I have some questions for you regarding your testimony. We heard DEP's presentation. They didn't go into a lot of specifics. We had some discourse back and forth during the questioning, and we're really looking to partner with you and the Swim Coalition. I understand there's been colloquy back and forth between staff of the committee and your organization and the Swim Coalition. We're trying to, get this right in a very, short amount of time. And we appreciate that. Why do a bill if we don't really get it right? Now, the bill may not cover everything, and there's always more work to do that could be covered by a subsequent bill. Maybe a bill that deals with, inland freshwater, or, which is not what we're talking about, but not a bad idea because there is work to do there as well. And let me get to my question. In your dealings with committee staff, is it your assessment, without getting into too much detail, do we have somewhat of a meeting of the minds here, do you think? How would you assess that without giving away the store?
Yes, we had a very productive meeting with the committee staff, and we're very grateful to be reached out to, and look forward to working quickly to get this bill ready for Earth Day. And I
Right.
think that there's some shifts that can be made. We did share with them, you know, what I mentioned around a user study to define where it would be better to do more testing. We also shared the focus on CSOs. And I just wanted to emphasize again, testing near shore. I think it would be really beneficial if we could get an exact map from DEP of where they are testing in their harbor water quality survey.
Right.
I know that the DEP representative today said that they test near shore, but that's not the understanding of those who use that data, including Riverkeeper and others. So when we go out and test New York City waters, we test as near shore as we can, and we think that's a very important measure for recreational users. Mid-channel testing of the East River is just not going to tell you what the conditions are like in Brooklyn Bridge Park, where we know that there are children wading in the water.
Right.
So I think that that's an example of a really important shift or measurement that this legislation could do. And then I would emphasize again, focus on some particular parameters that are really important for recreational use around CSOs particularly.
Okay, and would it be fair to say that both Riverkeeper and the Swim Coalition are of the same mind in terms of the changes that need to be made to the bill?
Yes, and Riverkeeper is a member of the steering committee of the Swim Coalition, and we prepared our testimony jointly with them today.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's good to have that kind of synergy and.
Yes. Oh, and council member, I just wanted to emphasize to you that DEP is supposed to report on CSO outfalls through the Sewage Pollution Right to Know Act, which is a state level bill. But we don't believe that they are currently reporting to the public adequately or even on a correct timeline when there are CSO outfalls and where those are. As I sort of mentioned in my testimony, they only will notify users of those waterways when there's so much discharge that pollution in a certain water body would violate a water quality standard. So the East River is almost never going to get that notification. So I just want to emphasize that we would love to work with this committee to do an oversight hearing.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like it lends itself more to an oversight hearing.
Yes.
And, you know, when it's not like the old days where we have like unlimited, you know, ability to do hearings. Right now we're doing like one hearing a month, like the, you know, committees of the council, and that doesn't count, you know, the summertime when we're not really in session, and you know, the months that where the budget occupies the hearing. So we, I can see that being part of like an omnibus, you know, water quality. Yeah, I could see us having like a very broad, far-reaching water quality hearing that extends that you know, goes all the way from the filtration avoidance determination to what's going on in Goose Pond Park, right? You know,
Clean
like
water,
everything else.
yes.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I think we have to cobble together like a big oversight hearing that will cover everything, because, yeah, we need to. Certainly that should get the attention that it deserves. And with that said, I'm really happy and pleased that this panel has come forward, that has given us the benefit of your views, and we will take your testimony and do good things with it. How about that? You know? Yeah. Should treat yourself to a nice lunch. How about that? It's 3 o'clock though, but maybe you had lunch before. I don't know. If you didn't have lunch, have it. Okay, we'll now turn to remote testimony. Once your name is called, a member of our staff will unmute you, and the Sergeant at Arms will give you the go-ahead to begin. Please wait. I repeat, please wait for the Sergeant to announce that you may begin before delivering your testimony. If you start before then, the first couple of words are going to be cut off. So wait for the sergeant on that. And so I think that's all we have to do that. Okay. And now that we're all set up for remote participation via Zoom, I'll call our first witness, Michelle, looks like Lubke. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Michelle Lubke.
You may begin.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Michelle Lupke, and I'm the program manager for the Stormwater Infrastructure Matters, or SWIM Coalition. Thank you, Chair Gennaro, and the committee for this opportunity to deliver public testimony on the SWIM Coalition's recommendations for Intro 730A. While we're generally supportive of bills like this that aim to reduce harmful substances from entering our waterways, we have questions and comments about Intro 730A. Specifically, how are you defining waterfront properties used for recreation? Does that include informal access points for swimming or boating? How and why were HABs and petroleum chosen, and why not something like CSOs that are a much bigger threat to human and ecosystem health? Is the intent to help track HAB threats in New York City, or is it to reduce threats to public health? Currently, the DEP is required under the Sewage Pollution Right to Know law to update the public after a CSO discharge, which they are currently not. This bill would require additional resources that DEP does not currently have. Where are these resources coming from? And can the council conduct oversight over DEP, over their sewage right to know, and DEP's failure to provide regular updates to the public as required? If I still have time, having read and discussed the intent of Intro 730A, SWIM encourages the committee to focus on combined sewage overflows and their impact on water quality rather than HABs and petroleum, which are important but not the highest priority for recreational water users. Petroleum, trash, heavy metals, PFAS, and sanitary sewage are all present in CSOs, which compromise the ability of New Yorkers to use our waterways as resources. In terms of detection and measurement, HABs occur mostly in stagnant areas that can vary from year to year. Petroleum is a non-point source pollutant, but CSOs are point sources and thus have discrete locations that are easy to routinely monitor to protect human and ecosystem health. While we encourage the committee to direct the DEP to regularly test and inform the public of CSOs, we urge allocating additional budgetary resources to the DEP for these efforts. We also recommend that any water quality testing occur at or near water access points for primary or secondary recreations, with locations selected through community engagement processes. These samples should be collected near shore, less than 15 feet from the water's edge, not mid-channel as currently done in the harbor survey, despite what the DEP said, for the most accurate measurement of contact risk to the public. The DEP currently uses modeling to determine the likelihood of water quality violation due to a CSO event rather than directly monitoring the outfalls to measure the frequency and volumetric discharge of each event. The SWIM Coalition has long advocated for sensors or other types of technology to be installed on the outfalls that could adversely affect existing uses of nearby waters by people. Thank you for the opportunity. Our more extensive written comments will be submitted. And as always, we look forward to partnering with you and your council and your staff to advance any of these recommendations and initiatives.
Thank you, Michelle, and I thank the Swim Coalition as well. You raised many points and questions that are now, front and center in our deliberations, and we are more aligned with the perspective that you put forward and others than we were in the original draft of the bill, proving that hearings are a great thing. Hearing was a great thing, and reaching out to
sorry to miss out in
stakeholders.
person. You all had the fun there.
We always try to have a little fun, and why not? I've always found that stakeholder engagement and the public hearing process is indispensable to what we do here, it takes a village to make a good bill and a good law, and we have great advocacy partners like the Swim Coalition, and we appreciate you and others that participate and lead us to make better laws than we otherwise would have. We're going to take all the credit, though, just so you know. Okay.
Of course, as you should. You take the credit. We'll just help you make it better, and we all win.
Here, here. That's a fair deal, and I'll take it. And Michelle, thank you so much. We appreciate your good testimony and your ongoing advocacy for the work that we do here. All the best. Oh, and the next witness, Juliet, looks like Hanlon. Juliet Hanlon.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for the opportunity to voice some of my concerns that were raised well by Mother Pigeon. I'll take off where she began and left off. I live in District 6, and I began rescues long ago of all birds, migratories as well. And thanks to the Wild Bird Fund, I have had the privilege to learn so much about what involves care and how to properly feed them. Things involved that aren't really a public awareness. In any case, recently Channel 4 broadcast a derogatory story that really misinformed the public, that not only harmed the birds of New York City, but I felt drew my concern for the need for proper education. Conservation begins with children. There's a need for informing children on responsible feeding of birds, not giving them garbage. But at the end of this topic in the news, it was that blaming pigeons for growing rat population, which is vastly untrue. And I felt passionate to speak because, you know, I feed them birdseed, as that's what their beaks are built for. I'm sure Mother Pigeon would second that. One of the greatest heroes in the movement to conserve wildlife in New York City. So I really became concerned to speak about the impact to humans who are doing that. I've been threatened and given hate comments wherever I feed on the sidewalks. I've been chased into traffic. I've had threats to beat me to a pulp, to slitting my throat. So, you know, and I discovered many of the stores on the Upper West Side in my district don't carry birdseed, at least not big enough packages for the public to properly feed birds. So thanks to the Wild Bird Fund, thousands are rescued annually, and the need to educate public is part of what I'd like to propose in this privileged hearing. The idea that conservation involves responsible feeding, bird seeds for birds. You know, this is part of what my testimony involves. The anti-pigeon protection spikes that are everywhere, even on top of commercial awnings. It's incredibly cruel. I've rescued babies. Those spikes are up to 6 inches long. They become nests for parents of pigeons. And their babies fall. One recent baby I rescued named Reeve was, you know, his scalp was gone. You know, just things like that businesses like the High Line invested in.
Time expired.
Yeah. So
You just please.
I'd like to see this resolution passed. I'm urging you to please pass this resolution that will protect and ask further that this resolution consider education programs for children in schools and build compassion and respect for wildlife and responsible feeding. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your passion and for your patience in coming forward to testify. I'm a little concerned about your safety. Make sure that you document these instances of like really bad harassment that you go through, and take steps to make sure that you are safe. We want you to be safe, and the birds want you to be safe. So, thank you for your good work, and just do whatever you can to, to be safe, and don't let the fake news get you down. It happens. It's out there, Channel 4, whatever. But we appreciate your passion and your good information, and we wish you the best, and the birds all the best as well. So thank you very much, and all the best. Thank you. And- Okay. If we inadvertently missed anyone who registered to testify today and has yet to be called, please use the Zoom raise hand function. If you are testifying remotely, you will be called in the order that your hand has been raised. If you are testifying in person, please come to the dais. Seeing no one, I will now close the hearing. Thank you to the members of the administration and members of the public who have joined us today. This hearing is hereby adjourned.